All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today into what's looking like a pretty wild F1 season coming up.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some expert analysis and predictions, all coming from the F1 2025 season preview, Australian Grand Prix week.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, just going through this stuff, it's already looking like it could be a classic year.
Oh, for sure.
You've got multiple teams that look like they could be in the running for the championship, new rules to shake things up,
Right.
and of course, all the off-track drama we love in F1.
The off-track stuff is always interesting. Yeah, a lot of unknowns this year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, testing gave us some clues, but the real pecking order, it's still a mystery,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of teams that are keeping us guessing, let's start with McLaren.
Okay.
Their testing times, I mean, they were eye-popping, especially Lando Norris in those high-speed corners.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what stood out to you in the data that suggests they could actually be, like, real championship contenders this year?
Well, I think the thing that really jumps out is their braking stability. I mean, it was remarkable.
Okay.
Norris was attacking the corners so aggressively, and the car just stayed planted under braking.
Yeah.
And you got to think that kind of late braking confidence, that translates to overtaking opportunities,
Right.
Gives them a psychological edge over their rivals, too.
It's not just raw speed then, it's like
Exactly.
it's about that racecraft and
Yeah.
how that stability lets them kind of dictate the battles.
Yeah, exactly.
But they did have some inconsistencies in those long runs, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the big question mark, right? Single lap pace, super impressive.
Yeah.
But tire degradation, that seemed to be an issue when things heated up.
What?
So if they haven't solved that by now, that could be their Achilles heel, especially in races like Bahrain or Singapore.
All right, McLaren fans,
Uh,
you heard it here first. Keep an eye on those tire temps,
oh, yeah.
especially as the season heats up.
For sure.
And let's not forget the other half of the McLaren garage. We've got Oscar Piastri.
Right.
Is he ready to challenge Norris? Maybe even steal a win or two?
Piastri. He's a bit of an unknown quantity at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, the talent is there, but it's all going to come down to consistency.
Right.
To be a real title contender, you've got to deliver week in, week out, not just those, flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, this is his first full season in F1. The pressure's got to be immense.
It's a real baptism by fire, going up against a teammate like Norris, who's already proven he can win races.
Absolutely.
So I guess the big question for everyone listening is, can McLaren, with this, strong car and this kind of intriguing driver duo, can they finally convert all that potential into a championship?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the ingredients are there, but in Formula One, execution is everything.
Yeah. And can they avoid that mid-season slump that's plagued them before?
Right.
That's another big one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Speaking of teams with big expectations and some new faces, Red Bull, they had a few hiccups during testing.
They did?
Even though they still seem to have that, trademark Red Bull speed.
Yeah.
Looks like those technical changes haven't quite settled in yet.
Yeah, it seems like they're still working things out, We got some interesting insights from Pierre Wash, their technical director.
Okay.
He was talking about a wider operating window with this year's car,
Okay.
but he also emphasized that they're still searching for the optimal balance.
All right, so for those of us who aren't engineers, break that down a little bit.
Sure.
What does a wider operating window actually mean?
Well, imagine last year's car was like a thoroughbred racehorse, right? Incredibly fast, but very, very temperamental.
Okay.
This year, they're aiming for something more versatile. A
Right.
car that performs well across different track temperatures, different setup configurations.
Okay.
The downside is they haven't quite nailed that sweet spot yet,
Yeah.
which explains the inconsistent testing times.
So it's a trade-off then, reliability and adaptability versus that, peak performance edge.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, the big elephant in the room for Red Bull is Liam Lawson stepping into Sergio Perez's seat.
Oh, yeah. Big shoes to fill.
That's a massive leap for a rookie driver, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, stepping into a top team with the reigning champion as your teammate, that's daunting enough.
Right.
But Lawson has hardly any experience in an F1 car, period, let alone at this level.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's never even driven the Melbourne track before.
Oh, wow. Talk about pressure.
Yeah, no kidding.
So the question for everyone listening is, can Red Bull, with their new car and this, untested driver, can they still dominate the field?
It's a gamble, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If Lawson can learn quickly, handle the pressure, they could be unstoppable.
But
But if he falters, that opens the door for the other teams.
All right. Now, for a team that's, well, guaranteed to bring the drama, Ferrari.
Oh, yeah, Ferrari, always a good show.
The arrival of Lewis Hamilton has, well, it sent shockwaves through the paddock.
Definitely.
And everyone's buzzing about this potential partnership with Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, it's a pairing that could be legendary, or it could completely implode.
Right.
You know, they're both incredibly talented, hungry for success.
Yeah.
The question is, can they coexist?
Right, because we've seen those dream teams kind of, fall apart before.
Oh, absolutely.
So what are the key factors that determine whether these guys can actually work together and get Ferrari to the front?
Well, first and foremost, car performance is paramount.
Okay.
If the Ferrari is a genuine championship contender, that gives them both a platform to shine.
Right.
But even with a great car, their personal dynamic is crucial.
Yeah.
Can they share data openly, collaborate on setup, and avoid those ego battles that can really derail a team?
So it's this balancing act between, individual ambition and that need for, real teamwork.
Exactly.
I mean, this is what makes F1 so captivating, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's these human stories intertwined with this, insane technical battle.
For sure.
So for you at home, think about this. Can Hamilton find his championship-winning form at Ferrari? And will that Leclerc rivalry, will it push them to new heights or just tear them apart?
It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely fascinating.
It really is.
It's a storyline you don't get in many sports, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And speaking of teams with internal battles to manage, let's talk about Mercedes.
Okay.
Their testing performance, it was a bit of a mixed bag, right? Promising in those cooler conditions, but still some questions about their actual race pace.
Yeah, they're definitely at a crossroads, aren't they? The new car, it seems like a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But it's not like a magic bullet,
Right.
They've still got a lot of work to do to close that gap to Red Bull and Ferrari.
And they've got an interesting driver dynamic to figure out too, right? You've got George Russell, who needs to prove he can lead the team.
Yeah.
And then you've got this rookie, Kimi Antonelli, who's got tons of potential, but obviously he lacks the experience.
Yeah, that's a recipe for some fireworks for sure.
Yeah.
Antonelli, he's a real wild card, He's got that raw speed, the fearless attitude.
Right.
But we've seen rookies crumble under pressure before.
Yeah.
So the key for Mercedes is going to be managing his development, carefully, without stifling his natural talent.
It's a tough balance, right? You want to nurture that young driver, but you also need to see results.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget about Russell. He needs to step up his game too.
Yeah.
This is his chance to really show that he can be a championship contender.
It is, yeah.
So for our listeners, here's another thought to chew on. Can Mercedes, with their new car and this potentially explosive driver pairing, can they actually reclaim their spot at the top? Or are they stuck playing catch-up for another season?
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, Mercedes won't go down without a fight. They're a team with a winning pedigree. They'll be pushing hard to get back to where they belong.
Now, let's shift gears a little bit and dive into the midfield battle. This is where things get really unpredictable, I think, with a bunch of teams that look like they could challenge for those, best of the rest points.
Yeah, for sure.
Alpine and Williams, they really caught my eye during testing.
Yeah, Alpine, they've got the potential to be a real disruptor this year.
Yeah.
Ocon is a proven race winner. And Gasly, he had a bit of a rocky start with Alpine.
Yeah.
But if he finds his groove, he could be a real force. But they need to find some consistency. That's the key for them.
Right. They've had those moments of brilliance.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to put together a full season of, strong results.
Right. Exactly.
Williams, on the other hand, they seem to have built a pretty solid foundation with Albon and Sainz.
They have, yeah. They're reliable, consistent.
Yeah.
They might not have the raw pace of Alpine, but they just keep picking up points.
Yeah, they're kind of, quietly effective.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
They might not grab the headlines, but they're always there, making life difficult for the teams ahead of them. And let's not forget about Haas. They've really become, a consistent presence in the midfield.
They have, yeah. They're always a threat.
Yeah, and that driver pairing of Magnussen and Schumacher, it's a good mix of experience and that youthful enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's a solid lineup.
Haas is a team that, they know how to punch above their weight.
They do.
Solid car, strong work ethic.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to take some risks.
Yeah, and that could be a dark horse for a podium or two this year, especially if the top teams have some slip-ups.
I love their underdog spirit.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Now, another team with some intriguing potential, I think, is AlphaTauri,
Right?
Red Bull's junior team. But they've shown they could be more than just a feeder team.
Yeah, for sure.
With Tsunoda leading the charge now and the rookie Nick DeVries alongside him, they've got a good mix of raw talent and some experience.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
Tsunoda needs to prove he can be a consistent point scorer.
Yeah.
And DeVries, well, this is his chance to really make a name for himself.
It is, yeah. Big opportunity for him.
It's a crucial year for Tsunoda, I think.
Yeah.
He's shown flashes of speed, but he needs to deliver those results consistently.
He does, if he wants to stay in F1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for DeVries, I mean, this is it. You
Yeah.
know, this is his shot to prove he belongs at the top level.
Big step up for him.
AlphaTauri is a team that, well, they often surprise us.
They do, yeah.
They've got that strong technical partnership with Red Bull, and they're not afraid to experiment a little bit.
They're not afraid to try new things, which is good.
Yeah, kept an eye on them. They could be a real force to be reckoned with.
For sure.
So for all the F1 fanatics out there, here's the big question. Which midfield team is going to come out on top? Will it be Alpine with their raw speed, Williams with their consistency, or maybe a surprise contender like Haas or AlphaTauri?
The midfield battle, it's always a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of battles,
Yeah.
let's not forget about all the drama that happens off the track. F1, it's a world of politics, power struggles,
Right.
all those behind-the-scenes moves.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole other game off the track.
And this year is no exception.
No.
The battle between the FIA president, Mohammed bin Sulayem, and all the other stakeholders, I mean, it's a major storyline to watch.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just whispers and rumors anymore. This is a full-blown power struggle.
Yeah.
And it's impacting the sport, like, in a real way.
So for those of you who love a good conspiracy theory, who love those power plays,
Oh, yeah.
keep a close eye on the FIA, things could get really interesting.
For sure.
And, of course, rule changes always throw a wrench into things. So what are we watching for on that front?
Well, the 2026 regulations, particularly the stuff about flexi wings,
Right.
that's a major point of contention right now.
Yeah.
Teams are already pushing the limits, and we're seeing protests, lobbying efforts, all before the rules are even officially in place.
It's F1, right? They're always trying to find an edge any way they can.
Oh, yeah. The gamesmanship never ends.
And then you've got the driver market, always a hotbed of, well, speculation and intrigue.
Oh, yeah. Always something brewing there.
What are some of the storylines you're following?
Well, George Russell's future at Mercedes, that's a big question mark, isn't it? He's under pressure to perform, and there are those rumors that Mercedes might try to lure Verstappen away from Red Bull.
Wow, that would be a huge move.
It would, wouldn't it? Change the whole landscape of the sport.
And what about the drivers who are looking to get back on the grid?
Well, you've got Sergio Perez. He's definitely eager for a comeback after losing his seat at Red Bull.
Yeah.
He's a proving race winner, could be a valuable asset to a team that needs that experience.
Yeah.
And Valtteri Bottas, he's another name to watch. He's been quietly consistent over at Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Might be tempted by a move to a more competitive team.
Right.
And let's not forget, Cadillac's coming into the sport in 2026. That's 2 more seats up for grabs.
Oh, yeah, that's going to create a lot of movement.
It is, yeah. The driver market's about to get really interesting.
So for all of you playing Fantasy F1, get ready for some wild trades and some unexpected moves.
Oh, yeah. Buckle up.
All right, so we've talked about the front runners, the midfield contenders, all that off-track drama. But there are a couple of teams we haven't mentioned yet. AstonMartin and, Alfa Romeo, now competing as Sauber.
Right, right.
AstonMartin, they've been a bit of an enigma, haven't they? Showed some promise early last season.
Yeah.
But they kind of faded away.
They did, yeah. A bit disappointing.
Fernando Alonso's arrival, that brought a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
But could he actually drag them back to the front?
He's a fierce competitor, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But even Alonso needs a competitive car to challenge for wins.
Right, exactly.
And let's not forget about Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
He's shown flashes of speed, but consistency, that's been his issue.
He's been his Achilles heel, yeah.
Aston Martin, they've got the resources, the ambition to be a top team, but they're missing something. Maybe Adrian Newey coming in as a technical consultant, maybe that'll provide the spark they need.
It's a long shot, but hey, stranger things have happened in F1.
They have, that's for sure.
Now, let's talk about Alfa Romeo, or Sauber, as they're now known.
Okay.
They've been quietly rebuilding the last few years, and they've got a solid driver lineup with Bottas and the rookie Zhu Guanyu.
Yeah, they've got a good thing going over there.
Bottas has been a bit of a revelation at Alfa Romeo, I think.
Yeah, he has.
He's rediscovered his love for racing, and he's consistently scoring points.
He has, yeah. He seems happier.
Yeah, Zhu has been impressive, too, in his debut season.
He has, yeah.
Showing a lot of maturity, speed beyond his years.
Yeah, definitely.
They've got that good mix of experience and youth, and it seems like a really harmonious team atmosphere.
Yeah, they seem to be working well together.
Could they be like a dark horse for some podiums this year?
It's unlikely,
Yeah.
but I think they can definitely challenge for points regularly.
Okay.
They're a team on the rise. They'll be looking to make a statement.
Yeah, it's amazing how those smaller teams can really punch above their weight, especially when that midfield battle is so tight.
It is. It is.
But, zooming out a bit, looking at the bigger picture, it's clear that off-track drama, it could be just as impactful as what happens on the circuit.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes even more so, And this season, that political chess match, it's really intense.
Yeah.
The FIA president's clashes with the teams, with the stakeholders, it's created a lot of uncertainty, and it's not just behind closed doors anymore. It's playing out in the media.
Right.
And it's affecting decisions about the regulations, even race calendars.
It feels like every week there's a new headline about some kind of dispute, some controversy.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild.
So for those of us who aren't, deeply embedded in the F1 world, what should we be looking for in this political tug of war? Like, what's really at stake here?
Well, at the heart of it, it's a battle for control, for influence over the future of the sport. The teams, they want more say in how things are run, and the FIA is trying to, assert its authority, make sure there's a level playing field.
Right.
And those 2026 regulations, they're a major flashpoint, especially the debate over engine development, the cost caps.
So it's not just about the technical rules. It's about who actually has the power.
Exactly.
The governing body or the teams, which are, let's face it, massive businesses with their own agendas.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of agendas, the driver market. That's another area where things can get pretty messy.
Oh, yeah. Always a lot of drama there.
Driver contracts, team loyalties, personal ambitions. It's like a constant game of musical chairs.
Yeah, and this year, the music is playing extra loud, that's for sure.
George Russell's future at Mercedes, that's the big question mark.
It is, yeah, especially with those persistent rumors that they might try to poach Verstappen.
That would be a huge move.
It would shake things up, for sure.
But Verstappen seems pretty happy at Red Bull, doesn't he?
He does. They've built the team around him.
Right.
But Mercedes, they've got a history of attracting top talent, with the promise of a championship-winning car.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the allure of driving for a team with that kind of heritage.
It's like a soap opera, all these driver swaps and contract negotiations.
It is. It's all part of the show.
And then you've got drivers like Perez and Bottas who are, looking to get back to the front.
They're both proven winners. They wouldn't hesitate to jump at the chance to drive for a top team.
And with Cadillac coming into the sport in 2026, that's 2 more seats that are going to throw everything into chaos.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
So for all you armchair team principals out there, start planning your strategies because that driver market is about to get really, really interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But at the end of the day, it's the on-track action that matters the most.
Absolutely.
You've got this incredible mix of, established stars, ambitious young drivers, teams that are battling for every inch of the track.
That's what makes F1 so great.
Yeah.
It's a sport that's constantly evolving, unexpected twists and turns.
Right.
We can analyze the data, we can break down the politics, make predictions, but in the end, the track is where the truth comes out.
That's what keeps us coming back for more. That unpredictability, the drama, the whole spectacle of it.
It's the best show in motorsport.
Yeah, so as we head into the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of what's looking like an epic season, I want to hear from you. Who do you think is going to come out on top? Which driver is going to surprise us? Which team is going to exceed expectations?
Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Buckle up. Get ready for a season that I think is going to be truly unforgettable.
Yeah, in this world of speed, strategy, relentless competition, it's not just about being the fastest. It's about being the smartest, the most adaptable.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's it for our deep dive into the F1 2025 season. We covered a lot of ground, from the technical details to the political battles, the ever-changing driver market. A lot to look forward to.
It's going to be exciting.
I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep those engines revving.